Walking built my business and changed my life, and something simple will change your life too. In 2015, I had this realization that my desk job was actually just killing my health. I was putting on way too much weight because I was sitting for 10 hours a day behind a computer screen and had been for several years. I was inactive and it wasn't healthy. So, like a genius, I signed up for a Tough Mudder. I never done a Tough Mudder, but I saw a picture on my friend's desktop that looked kind of cool. And I asked him about it and he's like, "Oh, that's a Tough Mudder." So I looked it up on YouTube. I'm like, dude, that looks awesome, right? I wanted to know how bad my health had actually gotten. It was kind of a measuring stick for me because my brain went, dude, you should be able to do that. No problem. Like, you got this. I didn't think I was that out of shape. And the truth be told, it wasn't, I didn't think I was that far out of shape. I just didn't want to be honest with myself and admit that I knew I was that far out of shape. Now, if you're listening to this, I encourage you to go check out my YouTube channel to watch this part of the video, just because what I'm going to do is I'm going to overlay a finisher picture from that race right here on this part of the podcast. Uh, I absolutely look like warmed over death, guys. I barely survived. I all but broke my foot and had to limp the last 2 miles with a bone that was rolled, which I didn't even know was possible. I got knocked unconscious by a hot wire on the last obstacle and hit the ground, and now I have scars on my ankles from the shale rock that my legs scraped across as I collapsed on the ground at full speed. Uh, totally unconscious. I had no prep time. I had never done 10 miles. What I thought was going to be a test of, well, what I told myself would be a test of how far out of shape was a hard wake up call for I had gotten in way over my head because not only was I out of shape incredibly at that point, I also took on a race that was way beyond anything I was ready for at the time. But it made me realize I needed to start walking and moving more because the desk job was just killing me. Every journey becomes with this simple change that becomes habit. It's called habit stacking. Now, I took that race as a sign that I should do something healthy and start moving. And so I started walking every day at work. I would eat lunch at my desk because I could. One of the great perks of the job I was in was I could eat my lunch whenever I really wanted to at my desk because I worked at a computer desk and they didn't really care. I took my 30-minute lunch and I went outside and I walked around my big ass building. I worked in a very large facility. It had a driveway all around the outside of the building, which made a great track for me to go walk. And so I just started walking every day. I put in some music. I started walking. And at first, I didn't really care how far I got. I just focused on walking for 30 minutes. And as I started doing this over a long time period, I started trying to walk faster. And I tracked it on my watch and I started trying to track how far I was going and trying to bump that number up. So I was walking faster and like I'm power walking out there and and I got to where I was walking 2 miles in 30 minutes on my lunch break. It can be really sweaty during certain parts of the year. So I was trying to figure out how to up my game, right? And so I started listening to audiobooks while I was walking, right? So first I just started moving. Then I started moving faster to make myself work a little harder. Then it was like, okay, I'm not going to run because I have to go back into the office, right? It can't be all stinky and sweaty. I jog a little bit here and there, but I was like, no, I can't really do that. It makes me too nasty. So I started walking faster. And once I hit a max walking speed of 2 miles in 30 minutes, right? That's only 15 minutes a mile if you guys are doing the math. I was like, how can I get more out of this? So I started listening to audiobooks. Well, soon I wanted to get even more out of it. So I actually bought a adjustable weight vest that goes from anywhere from 60 pounds all the way up to 80 pounds. Of course, me being the bonehead I am, I went straight to 80 pounds and started walking the 2 miles. Well, I didn't make it 2 miles the first couple times with an 80-pound weight vest on. Also, good idea to bring a shirt with you to change because you will sweat to death wearing that much weight and walking that fast, right? So now I'm listening to audiobooks and I'm walking and I'm wearing a weight vest. And it's like, you know what? I can get more out of this. And so I started riding my bicycle to work because I only live about 2.5 miles from where I used to work. I thought, you know what? I can get up, I can get more miles. So do my 2 miles at lunch. I'll get some miles in on the bike on the way to work, and on the way back, we had a shower at work. So I could go and change after I got a shower when I bicycled there, do my day, walk 2 miles, go in and change and bike home. Right. And I just kept stacking. Now, I didn't know this was a thing when I started doing it. I just started doing it. But it's a thing called habit stacking, right? Because you stack habits. You build one habit and then you build a habit that's complementary. As I continued that cycle, riding my bicycle to work, spending time walking with a weight vest, walking at lunch, I started turning to what I could turn to naturally, right? Because I was already listening to a book. What else could I do? So my attention started turning to nutrition, right? What can I do about fixing what I'm eating? Now, guys, I didn't know habit stacking was a thing. I didn't know how to name. I didn't know that it was actually like it was a thing, right? But every journey begins with a simple change that became a habit, and then you stack more habits if you want to grow and progress. So my question for you is, what story do you want to tell next year? This time next year, what story do you want to be able to tell? Well, I will tell you one habit that will absolutely help you with whatever story it is that you want to be telling next year, and that is getting a good night's sleep with some help from our friends over at My Pillow. Right now, My Pillow is having 2 sales in 1. The first is a closeout sale on the Percal bed sheets, any size, any color, just $25. That's right. You can even get queens, kings, split kings, and California kings, any size, any color, just $25. 11 colors to choose from. When they're gone, guys. And these are great sheets. We just ordered a couple more ourselves. The second sale is their new energy drink called Rev 7, a premium energy drink that's actually good for you. It tastes great and gives you energy all day long. Plus, it has no sugar, no caffeine. So you don't have to experience the jitters or the crashes we've all been through with other energy drinks. What makes Rev 7 so special is that powder is powered with cognizin, however you pronounce that, because I can't pronounce it, a premium neurotropic that helps fuel your mind, and Go BHB, which is a primary ketone in your body that provides the most efficient and cleanest fuel ever. My Pillow is so confident you're going to love Red 7 that for a limited time, you can try their introductory 3-pack absolutely free. That's right, guys, you heard it, absolutely free. These amazing offers won't last long, so now you can just go to mypillow.com, use promo code THRIVE, or call 800-794-5834. That's 800-794-5834. I love Rev 7, guys, and I've got a review coming out very soon for it, but for a limited time only, you can try their 3-pack, get all 3 flavors absolutely free. Check it out. Now, back to our episode. By the way, if you've never been here before, welcome to the Driven to Thrive broadcast, purpose, growth, and lasting impact for men. I'm your host, Brent Dallin. We help men go from living to thriving, purpose-filled, intentional lives. And we've got some new offers launching very soon over on our website, purposedrivenmen.com, and our coaching offerings. So you guys can go over there and check that out. Now, interestingly, after I started my journey of habit stacking, which it was years later before I actually found out that was a term, I eventually ended up reading the book Atomic Habits by James Clear. Maybe you've heard of that book. It's a international bestseller. They've sold millions of copies. And I absolutely love the book. After reading it, I was going to hold it up on the screen for you YouTube watchers and show you the cover, but apparently I gave away my copy again. I buy the book, so I have a copy here on my bookshelf, and then I give it to somebody. In fact, I actually give this book away as a gift more often. That's one of my favorite gifts to give people because I think it's a great book. I highly recommend it to you guys, but I can't show you right now because I gave away my copy again. I keep buying this and giving it away, but it was really funny to read the book because it's like, oh, So what I'm doing makes sense. There are other people who think this is a good idea. It was actually really kind of a nice validation. I didn't think that I had just made it up, guys. I'm not that conceited. I didn't imagine that I was doing something entirely new, but it was really kind of cool to find out there was an entire book that agreed with my thinking on this, that said, hey, this is the right track. So if you're listening and you don't know what habit stacking is, or how it built a business, or how it can change your life, we're going to break that down for you in this really quick podcast episode today. And it works like this. Number one, what is habit stacking? Well, habit stacking is simple. Okay. I already walked you through it, so I'll walk you through it real quick, right? I started walking. I realized, holy crap, I'm out of shape. I need to move more. I started walking. Okay, simple enough. I started walking faster. That's a new habit, to move at a faster speed intentionally instead of just strolling around. But then I started listening to an audiobook because I thought, hey, instead of listening to music, I can start listening to books. And that way I can read more books. That's a new habit that fit nicely on top of the existing habit, right? It complemented it. So I started walking faster while listening to a book. And then I started walking with a weight vest while I was listening to a book and trying to keep up that same speed, right? These are habit stacking. I started with one habit. I broke it into my life. I ingrained it into my life. And that's what it is. You start with one habit and you heavily ingrain it into your life, right? You actually build it into a habit where you don't have to think about it, where it just kind of happens, where it's just a part of your everyday routine. Then you add a complementary habit that continues in a positive direction. Rinse and repeat as you stack these into not thoughts, but actual habits where you just do them automatically. I would love to say it's complex and it's I can sell you a great thing on for $29.99. That's all bullshit. Okay. It's not complex. The concept is not hard. It really is that simple. Start with one simple habit that makes life better in one of the 4 quadrants of your life and turn it into an actual habit where you just do it without thinking. Then you add another small habit that easily complements that one, and so on and such forth. That is habit stacking, plain and simple. It's a really complicated name, or a big fancy name for something that is just a stupidly simple process. And people do it all the time. You do it with bad habits. Yeah, me too. Don't worry. You do it with bad habits all the time, whether you realize it or not. So now doing it with good habits, that's habit stacking. Number 2, right? The one in, one out paradox. So when you're trying to start a new habit, or when you're starting habit stacking, there are 4 big roadblocks with building new habits. The first one is we consistently underestimate the requirements of a new habit. This is why so many people fail their New Year's resolutions, especially all the crazy people who be like, I'm going to go get in shape. I'm going to start working out every day. A lot of times, these are people who have never worked out in their lives or never been gym people. Atomic Habits explain this really simply, right? People go, I'm going to go work out 4 times a week, but they don't actually account for what that requires. I mean, stopping what you're doing, possibly changing or getting ready, traveling to your local gym, wherever that is in your city, taking time to do the workout, taking time to clean up after the workout, taking time to then drive back to wherever you are, or reverse those. You might have driven back to where you were and then cleaned up, and then get back on track. So if you plan to be at the gym for only 30 minutes, it still takes you an hour and 15 minutes a lot of times, at least an hour, right? We frequently underestimate the requirements of a new habit because we go, this is the habit, but we don't think of all the steps involved with that habit. And that's why most people stink at starting new positive habits. 2, we lust after the big shiny instead of the simple solutions. Nobody wants to make simple habits. It's ironic because simple habits are the ones that actually make a huge difference in your life and are the most effective seeds of change. Simple habits, they're what actually move the needle. But we all go, oh, I want a big, because if it's not big shiny, we have big shiny syndrome over here. If it's not big and shiny and fancy, we don't really want it. The third problem is your subconscious prefers homeostasis. It is so funny. Your brain works against you. Your brain doesn't like things to change. It doesn't like change at all. That's why so many people are bad at change, is because your brain doesn't like change. It wants homeostasis. It has worked really hard to maintain you right here. And it doesn't want you to go this way. And it doesn't want you to go this way. You have to work really hard to go either direction, usually with drastic measures sometimes. Uh, That's kind of contradictory. Usually drastic sometimes. Sorry. Usually there is major steps involved to take you out of that homeostasis. Well, guess what? Your brain, sometimes your body, is going to fight you heavily if you try and step out of homeostasis. The fourth thing that really screws people up on starting with new habits and habit stacking is the one in, one out paradox. We often have over busied our lives and we don't have room for new habits. Think back right to my gym example. It's not just a 30-minute workout. It's the stopping what you're doing, changing clothes, making the trip to the gym, cleaning up after the gym, traveling again, getting back focused on track, right? That 30-minute workout session is going to take you an hour or a little bit more, maybe even longer. We don't realize, and so we have these busy lives, and we often let new habits get pushed to the side because it takes more time than we thought it was going to. We thought we could wedge it in right here. But the truth is, to add a new habit, a lot of times you have to remove a distraction or a time filler to add that one positive habit. You got to make room for it. If you listen to the last 2 weeks, we're trying to chime a new law. We're calling it Brent's Law. And Brent's Law states that you will fill your empty time with useless, meaningless things unless you intentionally put something positive in it. That's the fact. We'll fill it with scrolling. You have no idea how much time you spend scrolling on your phone. At least most people don't. We'll fill it with a television time, right? Oh, there's a new show on. We will fill it with useless crap because society rewards us for feeling busy, which is totally ridiculous. But the one in, one out paradox is real. You have to remove something that is wasting your time, not moving the needle for you, not helping you, or just distracting you out of your life a lot of times to add a new habit. So habit stacking actually becomes very difficult for people because of one of those four reasons usually. Now, I did tell you habit stacking changes your life. So how does it change your life? Habit stacking creates momentum in your life. That is the law of how it works. Momentum. Momentum is the key. Achieving something makes you want to achieve more things. When I decided I was going to walk faster, it wasn't this is a major decision. It was well, I'm walking every day. I feel like I could do a little bit more. I feel like I could go a little faster. I feel like I could work a little harder. Then adding the audiobook, it was like, instead of listening to music, and I love music, but adding the audiobook and choosing to try and learn something as opposed to just listening to something, that wasn't a just deep thought out. That was I'm already doing this and this is feeling good and I'm already walking faster and that's feeling even better. And, I bet I could use this time more efficiently. What can I do? I can't walk any faster. Hadn't thought of the weight vest yet. Can't walk any faster. I can listen to something for my brain. My brain is not being challenged, even though my body is being challenged. So I can challenge my brain, right? Once you start achieving something, you think, I can do a little bit more. It creates momentum in your life. And that is the power of habit stacking. It's win stacking on a bigger scale. Now, if you've been on the show before, you might have heard us talking about win stacking. Win stacking is just habit stacking on a smaller scale. Let me throw you an example, right? If you get up and you make your bed and you brush your teeth and you get a good shower because you got up on time and you get some good food and some water in your system and you get your coffee or whatever you drink and you get dressed and you get out of the house with enough time to comfortably get to work without any kind of stress, you are going to have a better day because you stacked a bunch of micro wins before you got to the harder stuff in your day. They actually teach this to Navy SEALs. This is actual hard science, not trust the science, but actual hard science. So this is supported scientifically, crazily enough, right? They teach this to Navy SEALs, and those guys generally kick ass. So we know something's got to be working right. Now, if you're a little, I don't know, Brent, that seems a little bit of a stretch. Think back to the last time you got behind schedule on your morning routine. Your alarm didn't go off, or you slept through it, or you accidentally snoozed it too long, and you woke up and had that, oh crap moment, right? And you're scrambling to get out the door, and you're like jumping, like bouncing in your clothes, trying to put shoes on, and you don't got time to get food, and you didn't get your coffee, and you didn't get your shower. Now your breath smells funky, and you got behind that super slow asshole who's got nowhere to go, and you're losing your mind, and you're going to be late for work, and you get in, and your boss is standing right there to see you walking late, and you're wearing half dirty clothes because you just grabbed whatever you could throw on. How'd your day go? How'd that work out? Did you enjoy that day? That is anecdotal evidence, ladies and gentlemen, of win stacking, right? Those little micro wins start your day on a positive note. Well, habit stacking is win stacking on a much bigger and more impactful scale. You start with little habits that stack, and they have a larger impact on more of your life than just the daily wins. Getting moving more didn't just count for the day, it made me healthier. It increased blood flow. It actually helped me win on multiple levels for a longer period of time than just the jumped out of bed on time and got my shower, blah, 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 right? Habit stacking is win stacking on a much bigger scale. You can increase daily wins, and habit stacking will increase daily wins, but habit stacking wins actually build a much bigger impact that has a much more, I can't say this another way. It has a huger impact on your lives, guys. Yeah, bad English, okay? I couldn't think of a better word. So, how do you apply it to your life? This is the important part. This is the part, take notes, okay? How do you apply this to your life? A, pick one small habit that takes you towards a big positive goal. That goal can be in any of the 4 big pillars of your life. Now, if you're not familiar with that terminology, that's terminology I use in my coaching program. You have 4 pillars that everything else falls in your life, and that's mission, health, mindset, and relationship focus. Okay? Those are your 4 focuses. Those are your 4 pillars, and everything else you do in your life falls into one of those 4 categories. So you pick one small habit that takes you towards a bigger positive goal in one of those 4 areas of your life. Pick one that you want to improve and find one small step that you can take every single day, right? It can be 10 minutes a day, it can be 30 minutes a day, however that habit fits in your life. But do it until you do it automatically without thinking. It's as natural as breathing air, ladies and gentlemen. It's second nature. You don't argue about it in your head anymore. My journey was not a quick journey. Okay. The story I was telling started in 2015, is 2025. We're 10 years into this. Still something I do, still something that impacts my day, still something that impacts me on a large scale. Started with walking, still trying to do it. So do it until you do it just like you're breathing, until there's nothing distracting you from it. You've just accepted it. It's part of that homeostasis we were talking about, and it would be weird not to do it, right? That's step 2. Now, add one more habit that you can do in concert or in complementary that works towards one of those 4 pillars. Now, here's the trick, guys. Here's the beautiful thing. It doesn't have to be towards the same pillar as that first habit. It just has to be complementary or work in concert with that first habit. For example, I started walking faster. That was step 2, right? We increased from walking and moving more to walking faster. But the third habit for me was switching from listening to music to listening to an audiobook. I was not building that health portion. I guess you'd call it mental health if you want to. I wasn't building that health portion. I was building that mindset and mission portion. Those listening to audiobooks were building those pillars, not the health pillar in my life, right? But it was complementary. It worked in concept. I could do it while I was exercising this other thing. So once it becomes automatic, pick one more small habit. I'm not asking for big stuff. One more small habit that you can do in concert that works towards one of those 4 pillars to improve your life. Step 4, rinse and repeat, guys. You just keep doing it. That's how habit stacking works. Like I said, I'm not going to pretend this is stupidly complicated, but it is stupidly powerful. And the 5th part of how to apply this to your life is clarity. Obviously, in my example, walking, there's that point where it tops out, right? I couldn't walk any faster. So I started a new habit and somewhere else that started a cycle all over again. I could not walk faster with an 80-pound weight vest while listening to a book on my lunch break, right? It tapped out. I couldn't go running. Like I said, I worked in a white collar environment, so I couldn't be all sweaty. As it was, I had to change shirts frequently and I had to take an extra shirt to work with me because I sweated because it gets really hot here. And with an 80-pound vest, everything is really hot, right? So I actually leveled that out to where I just could not push that farther. So what did I do? I did something complementary and adjacent. I started a new habit that fit into the cycle, but worked in concert, right? I started focusing on my nutrition. So as I started to move more, I started tackling better nutritional choices for breakfast and lunch and experimented with fasting windows and things like that. It worked in concert. I leveled this out. I maxed this out. I could not go any farther with this piece. However, this complemented it and moved towards a positive direction, right? So there's that clarity. You will actually max out. It's like, oh, I can't stack any more habits on this. However, I can start a new complementary stack that works in concert with this. See, habit stacking really isn't complicated. You just have to think 3-dimensionally with some of it. So how did habit stacking build a business? Because I told you right at the beginning of this, walking, habit stacking, that built my business. What started with a walk for my health moved into, as I started doing it, as I started adding audiobooks, I started learning about finance. I found out that I did not know anything about finances, that my financial IQ, as they use on the internet, was really low. And it was actually costing me money, I'd already found out. And so I started investing with audiobooks into my own financial education to get my financial situation under control. As I learned that, this was like learning Greek for me because I had never been taught about finances. I realized if I could teach myself that I could start to learn anything, right? I could start to teach myself anything I wanted if I could understand this totally foreign concept to me and teach myself that enough to actually change my financial situation. So, fed by a desire to impact people and my experience in helping people, working with people, and coaching people in various capacities, I started writing a book that I had been actually asked to write by some friends several years before. I then started studying self-publishing because I could teach myself that too, which led to my podcast. I started studying the concept of entrepreneurship as I learned about podcasting, which is a new concept to me. Entrepreneurship was something I had never really heard of. It was something I heard of on YouTube every now and then. But I started studying entrepreneurship and what that actually meant and what business looked like because I wanted my podcast to grow. For me to get my podcast to grow and reach more people and serve more people, I had to understand some business concepts that I didn't understand to be able to grow my show, which eventually led me to starting a business focused on making content for men and helping men grow and change their lives for the better and teaching men that they can actually change their situation and that they have so much more to offer in life. They have so much more purpose and life flows better once you start to align with that purpose. This fell in with my passions. It fell in with my purpose. It fell in with my skill sets and my experiences. And each habit made me grow and change my direction some as I experienced the benefits of those habits and started stacking more and more. It changed my expectations for myself, which then changed my goals for myself. And with that growth, I went from a 9 to 5 job to being an entrepreneur focused on serving the community at large, serving men, and trying to make a difference in the lives of men and showing men that they have so much more to offer society and equipping you to do so. That is my big goal. I want to help you live your best life because I think you're incredibly valuable and that the world needs you to become the person you were born to be. Business was not the plan. Entrepreneurship was not the plan. Becoming a podcaster wasn't actually the plan, but it all started with that first habit of getting up and moving more. 10 years later, 5 years later, I opened the Fallible Man LLC. 10 years later, I'm a podcaster, I'm a coach, I'm an entrepreneur. I've had another business that I've opened, didn't go well, ended up closing the doors on that. And all of a sudden, I'm a full-blown entrepreneur working multiple businesses. And this was not the plan. It was the result of positive habit stacking and adapting my expectations and desires based as those habits stacked and my life changed. My expectations of myself grew, and the course of my life was altered forever because I started walking. One simple, small habit changed the course of not only my life, but my family's lives, and has reached the lives of thousands upon thousands of men over the years. My show has been downloaded under the original title over 250,000 times. We have reached people in 53 countries and are approaching 500,000 downloads. We have reached virtually every state in the United States, I think. We are reaching people. This was not the plan. It's the result of habit stacking. So the question is, what little habit, right? I asked you at the beginning, what story do you want to tell next year? Because one little habit, one simple change that becomes a habit will absolutely change your story for next year. Guys, head over to purposedrivenmen.com, submit any questions you'd like answered for our first ever Ask Me Anything episode next week. While you're there, be sure and sign up for our free bi-weekly newsletter with exclusive insights and content, behind the scene information, offers from our guest, insider information. My mailing list is the first people to know anything that we do. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Share this with a friend. And until next time, be better tomorrow because of what you do today. We'll see you on the next one.
The Driven to Thrive broadcast. Purpose, growth, and lasting impact for men. Helping men go from living to thriving. Purpose-filled, intentional lives.
Affiliate disclaimer. MyPillow, like any other source, cycles promos. Because of the extended life cycle of a podcast, the immediate promotion that you heard mentioned in this episode may no longer be in effect when you hear it because you could be hearing this 5 years from when I recorded it. However, as long as MyPillow is a sponsor of the Driven to Thrive broadcast, our show, our promo code THRIVE is always good for up to 80% off your order and free shipping on orders over $75. No matter what you hear in this episode, as far as the current promo, Thrive is always good as long as MyPillow is a sponsor of the show for up to 80% off your order and free shipping over $75.